Hello, and welcome to This Explainer. I am so excited to guide you through some truly fascinating material today. Let's just stop and think about traditional accounting for a second. Honestly, it was built for a world that kind of doesn't exist anymore. We're talking about a world of smokestacks where direct labor and raw materials were basically the only things driving cost. But today, in our highly automated, tech-driven landscape, those old traditional systems are completely failing us. They obscure the truth, mainly because overhead costs have just absolutely skyrocketed. So today, we are cracking open the Modern Business Toolkit. We're going to master some contemporary costing methods that will literally revolutionize how you view your business operations. Here is our quick roadmap for today's explainer. We're tackling activity-based costing, target and lifecycle costing, Kaizen costing and waste, and finally, throughput and backflush costing. All right, Section 1, activity-based costing, tackling those massive hidden overheads. So the real shift in focus we're talking about here is just remarkable. In modern production, it's the support activities, things like setting up machines, complex scheduling, material handling, and rigorous quality inspection that generate massive hidden costs. Traditional methods just sort of smear these costs evenly over products using direct labor hours. And honestly, that is wildly inaccurate today. Activity-based costing, or ABC, completely changes the game. It focuses intensely on the actual activities that are eating up your resources. We aren't costing the product directly anymore. We are costing the activities first, and then assigning those activities to the product. Okay, so how do we actually pull this off? It's a highly logical 5-step journey. First up, you identify the core activities required to make your product, say inspecting parts. Next, you classify each of those into its own cost pool, which just means grouping the total overhead for that specific activity. Step 3 is absolutely crucial. You assign a cost driver. This is the trigger that actually makes the cost fluctuate, like the number of parts you inspected. Fourth, you distribute the total overhead by those cost drivers to figure out your exact rate. And finally, you multiply the activity used by that specific rate. This laser precision, it's exactly what makes this tool so incredibly powerful. And this is where it gets real. Let's look at a classic example from a company called Rose Ltd. Under the old traditional costing, Product X looks like a total bargain to produce, sitting at just 58 rupees. But when we apply activity-based costing and actually factor in the intense purchasing, the heavy inspection, and the machine arrangements it truly requires, the real cost skyrockets to over 244 rupees. No way, right? Meanwhile, Product Z was actually being overcosted the whole time. ABC reveals a shocking truth for modern businesses. Traditional costing dramatically underprices your complex products and overprices your simple ones. Now, the big so what here is weighing these benefits against the reality of putting it into practice. The advantages are crystal clear. You get incredibly accurate estimates, you truly understand your cost behavior, and you can instantly spot highly inefficient processes. But, as a manager, you have to face the disadvantages too. ABC is extremely time-consuming to set up. It's costly, selecting those complex cost drivers is tricky, and it doesn't always conform to generally accepted external accounting principles. Simply put, it's a heavy-duty tool for a complex job. Moving right along to Section 2, Target and Lifecycle Costing, where we look at market pricing and product lifespans. So imagine you're launching a brand new product in the fast-moving consumer goods sector. Your competitors are absolutely fierce, and your customers, they are incredibly price sensitive. This raises a massive challenge. How do you price your products when the market, and definitely not your accountants, is dictating the rules? You can't just tally up your internal costs and slap a markup on it anymore. Those days are gone. The answer here is target costing. I absolutely love this concept because it flips traditional accounting completely upside down. It's a deceptively simple formula. Target costing equals your anticipated selling price minus your desired profit. In today's economy, businesses are price takers. The market is telling you the absolute ceiling price you can charge. From there, you subtract the exact profit margin you absolutely must make to survive. Whatever number is left over, that is your strict target cost. From day one of product design, your entire team has to aggressively innovate and reduce costs to fit within that strict, non-negotiable boundary. But hey, hitting that target cost on day one isn't the end of the story. We have to look at the whole picture using lifecycle costing. A product's true cost spans a massive timeline. We're talking from the initial months of market research and design, right through prototyping into years of active production and sales, all the way to year 6 or beyond when you finally decommission and dispose of the asset. Evaluating whether an investment is actually worth it requires looking way past just the initial manufacturing cost. You have to calculate across 4 distinct categories. You've got capital costs, like heavy equipment, operating costs, like the rent and energy just to keep the lights on, maintenance costs to keep your machinery running smoothly, and finally, residual values and disposal costs, which means the salvage money you get back at the end, minus the cost of cleaning everything up. Only by calculating this entire life cycle can you truly know if a product is going to be profitable. All right, Section 3, Kaizen Costing and Waste, focusing on continuous incremental change. To combat the silent profit killers known as inefficiencies, we look to the Japanese philosophy of Kaizen. In Kaizen, waste is defined as absolutely any activity that does not add value. Consider these 7 specific profit killers. Overproduction, just making more than the demand. Inventory, excess raw materials just sitting there gathering dust. Waiting time, defective products, unnecessary motion by workers, moving materials around in transportation, and overprocessing, like, say, painting a part of a machine that no one will ever even see. Every single one of these is literally bleeding money right out of your bottom line. So how do we fix it? We use the Kaizen loop. You start by forming a highly motivated team and identifying a problem. You arrange discussions to brainstorm, giving everyone on the floor a voice. You identify creative solutions, and then, and here is the real magic, you implement them incrementally. You aren't aiming for instant, massive perfection overnight. You test a small change, check the results, standardize it if it actually works, and then you just repeat it continuously. It is a relentless, never-ending loop that empowers your employees to constantly challenge the status quo. And now, our final section, throughput and backflush costing, where we tackle bottlenecks and simplified inventory. This brings us to throughput costing, which is a pretty radical alternative, proposed by Eliyahu Goldratt. Think about a highly automated factory with permanent staff. Your labor and overhead are basically fixed. So throughput costing says that only direct materials are considered true variable costs. It shifts your entire management focus. You prioritize throughput, which is the rate at which you generate money, above absolutely everything else. Then you look at inventory and finally operating expenses. This framework brilliantly helps decision makers isolate and fix those bottleneck resources that are slowing down the entire money-making machine. And finally, for those super fast-moving, just-in-time production floors, we have backflush costing. Picture a company assembling medical kits with gloves, masks, and wipes. Traditional costing demands that you deduct inventory continuously, one piece at a time, every single time a worker takes a wipe or glove from the store. Honestly, it's a nightmare to track. Backflush costing eliminates that entirely. You simply wait until the entire medical kit is perfectly assembled, and then you deduct all the inventory simultaneously based on the bill of materials. It saves a massive amount of time and tracking effort. Wow, okay, we've covered a tremendous amount of ground today. We've seen exactly why traditional accounting needs a major upgrade. From pinpointing those hidden overheads with activity-based costing, to hitting exact market prices with target costing, tracing the whole lifespan with lifecycle costing, eliminating waste through Kaizen, and speeding up those automated floors with throughput and backflush costing. So I want to leave you with this provocative thought. Look closely at your own operations. Which of these powerful modern costing tools are you going to implement first to uncover hidden profits and truly optimize your business? Thank you so much for learning with me today on this explainer, and I absolutely can't wait to explore more complex topics with you next time.